And not just what happened, but all the wildernesses that we go through in our life. Because this is going to apply to all of us. You see, no matter who you are, you will go through a wilderness. You will go through several wildernesses if you're living on this planet. Most of you are. It's part of life in the world. There's good times, there's bad times, easy times, hard times, times of having, times of loss, times of joy and sorrow. And believers, we are not exempt from the wilderness. In fact, the picture the Bible gives us is of the people of God in the wilderness. Most people don't think of it as a good thing. Believers will say, I'm going through how you doing? I'm going through a wilderness period. I've been in a wilderness. Because after all, the Hebrews went through a place, it was a dry place, it was a barren place, a desolate place. So we called the dry times or the hard times a wilderness. And the days we've just been through in many ways was a barren wilderness, a time of being without, of things that we thought we were always going to have. But in the Word of God, it's revealed the wilderness is actually something very different. This is the scene. Moses is standing in front of the nation of Israel. It's the end of their 40-year journey. Most of those who are standing now were children when it began, or youth when it began, or not born at all when it began. Now it's time to say goodbye. Moses is saying goodbye to the nation of Israel and the journey and the wilderness. They're saying goodbye. And this is what he tells them. Deuteronomy 8, verse 1. All the commandments I'm commanding you today you shall be careful to do, that you may live and multiply and go in and possess the land that the Lord swore to give to your forefathers. And you shall remember all the way which the Lord your God has led you in the wilderness these 40 years, that he might humble you, testing you to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. And he humbled you, and he let you be hungry, and he fed you with manna, which you didn't know, nor did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but by everything that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Now, there's much more. But this alone is filled with revelation. First of all, God is telling them at the end of the wilderness, he's not saying, hey, thank God you're out. He's saying, you shall remember all the way which the Lord your God has led you all these 40 years, that he might humble you. You shall remember the wilderness. Now, the wilderness had snakes, had scorpions, had heat, going hungry. A generation died in the wilderness. Many people never made it out of it. Who would want to remember all that? But he said, you will remember it. Now, there were many other 40-year periods in Israel's history, but for the most part, God doesn't say remember them. Solomon reigned for about that period of time, but it doesn't say remember. Why? But he said the wilderness, remember, because it was for their good. To remember this forever. The wilderness was 40 years, but their time in the promised land was hundreds of years, thousands of years, you count till today. It had all sorts of teachings and blessings. Every synagogue in the world pretty much has a Torah, the scroll. The Torah came completely in the wilderness. All these things, so much of the Bible started in the wilderness. That's how important it is. Those 40 years of hardship, testing, we're going to remember in our lives more the tough times than the regular times. In your life, when things are fine, you may not remember them much because it's every day. But when something happens, changes, a challenge like this year, you're going to remember this past year more than most years in your life. We think hard times are bad times. Not necessarily. Times of testing, it's a hard time. But it says here, God says it didn't say he was bad or it was a waste. We have a word in English, waste. We call something like a desert, we call it wasteland. But the wilderness could be called a wasteland, but it wasn't a waste at all from God. With God, nothing is wasted in your life. We think times of hardship, times of lack, that's wasted. I couldn't get what I wanted. That's not nothing. God never wastes anything. In God, every wasteland has no waste. He'll use every single thing in your life to do the most good, especially the hard times, often do the greatest good and greatest changes. And the key is, while you go through the hard time, remember, God is going to use every part of it if you follow him. None of it's going to be wasted. It'll be all used for your blessing for the rest of your life. You might have an idea of how. You may have no idea how. Doesn't matter. Have peace in that fact. God is going to use it. Hi, I'm Jonathan Cahn, and I hope you were blessed with the video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Feel free to share your reactions with your comments and how you were blessed, and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.